Representing Turkmenistan, Polina Guryeva. Representing Ecuador, Angie Palacios. Representing People's Republic of China, Lao Huifang. Representing Romania, Alexandra Alexei. Representing Turkey, Nure Levant. Representing France, Vicky Greot. Representing Canada, Magali Roux. Representing France, Naomi Nuilo. These are the athletes in the women's 64 kilo Group A session.
Is the aim. Joining me in the commentary box, Simon Kent. So, Simon, we saw the Chinese women dominate yesterday in the 55 and 59 kilograms especially. You see the start lifts come up there. Guryev from Turkmenistan, Palacios from Ecuador, the
women's 64s.
So we're looking at Greot, Vicky Greot from France. 79 kilos on the bar. This is her first attempt in the snatch. Yeah, Liu didn't actually even enter the competition in either the snatch or the clean and jerk until everyone else had finished, did she?
No, it was, as we said, a dominant performance.
So, back to today's event, women 64 kilos. Vicky Greot from France, she's away. Happy with that first lift.
Yeah, certainly, a bit of a theme developing, isn't there, Tim? That we watch the men and they start, sometimes with an inch of their lives on their first attempts, and we see a whole lot of misses. Whereas the theme with the women is what we see as their opening attempts is often the attempt they take, and they get off to a good start.
Yeah, we've certainly seen a lot of the men struggle with their first lifts, and if we take last night's snatch, for example, in the women's 59, every athlete of the 9 successful at their first attempt. So could be something to be said for that. Just easing your way into it, especially with the heat and the humidity and some of those other issues.
Yeah, it's interesting. If I just put my coach's hat on for a moment, it's very rare that you come to a tournament and watch every single lift, which I'm in quite a privileged position here. I have this competition, and when that happens, you can start to see some of these trends emerging. So I'll be reflecting at the end when we finish at about 8 o'clock on Saturday night, and we'll be able to see how things have panned out.
Yeah, well, it certainly gives us, as you say, a very privileged perspective, and even I know the coaches see the athletes day in, day out, up close, at a distance, on video, but we're getting a really close look at them on a couple of cameras here and kind of pick out the little quirks and difficulties they might be having, aren't we?
Well, I think the big difference from being at a competition when you're coaching is when you're coaching, you're right on the cold face, you're right in the thick of things. We'll just watch Roux take this attempt.
82 kilograms, girl from Canada. Her first lift in the women's snatch, 64 kilogram Group A. Again, she looked very comfortable, didn't she?
Yeah, another strong opener. So, yeah, when you're here coaching, you're right in the thick of things. You're on the cold face. You're in the heat of battle, so to speak. This role calling and doing some announcing means that it's more of a helicopter view. You can sort of step back a little bit and see the whole competition and see the big picture. And some of the trends we've already, on some of the commentary, identified some different techniques that different parts of the world seem to impart more than others. So it's been good. It's given a different view.
So Greot back out. Apart from the other French girl, Euros. So this will be one of those little battles of three, you would think, here in the bottom half of this group between Grayo, Roux and Euro. We're with Grayo, 82 kilos. Little wry smile there as she got to the top of that.
Yeah, another good lift. It's got a lot of tape around the right shoulder there, but it doesn't seem to be bothering at all at this stage.
Yeah, so as a coach, you're talking about having the helicopter position from here. You were involved in coaching a couple of New Zealand women yesterday. Is that a very different experience to being able to keep your eye on every lifter here?
Yeah, vastly different. You can see when we get the shots out the back of everyone crowded around the screens, deeply in their mind trying to work out different mathematics.
We see them there doing
yeah,
that.
That's exactly it. So you end up, you get caught very much looking at numbers, working out what you need to do to get a certain athlete into a certain position. Whereas here, there's certainly no pressure on us to call the right numbers. And it just, as I say, it just gives a more strategic view of how competitions unfold and some of these various trends. And so the most obvious one that springs to mind is that in the women's session so far, they seem to be far more successful with their opening attempts.
Well, the rule of commentary is that we're never wrong here, and even if we're wrong now, at some point what we said will be right.
Yeah, that's certainly a good way to look at it.
Well, we've got to keep working on that principle. But you were involved in a bit of emotion yesterday with young Miller, where she collapsed under her weight at one point. And how distressing is that for a coach? I mean, these are athletes and human beings as well, I guess, aren't they?
Oh, look, absolutely. You never like to see that. And young Renee, in her first international, actually performed heroically to come back and secure her third attempt after that.
Well, we're with Vicky Grayo, who is going to go straight through. This is a 2 kilo increase to 84 kilos, her third and final attempt in the women's 64 kilogram snatch. Well, she's done well.
Yeah, I just noticed on that. So clearly, she's got an injury or something that she's managing on that right side. You'll watch her. If we see the head-on replay, if we can do that, then you'll see how much her right side. Just watch her right side.
She just dips a bit, doesn't she?
Yes, there. But nonetheless, she manages to keep the elbows locked out.
So the second of the French competitors strides onto the stage. And this is Euro, 85 kilos. She looked very strong there, didn't she?
Yep, yet again, another strong opener.
So when you've got a situation like you had yesterday with Renee, how distressing is that for you? I know you must have seen that happen with other athletes, but is that a distressing position for a coach to be in?
Yeah, absolutely. Health and wellness of your athlete is always first and foremost your main concern. And when an athlete finds herself in a distressing position, immediately your concern is for the individual as a person, as you rightly say.
So Roux, Canada, 85 kilos, her second attempt, successful at 82. Yeah, she's very happy with that.
And she should be. It's another strong, tidy lift.
Did you give any consideration when Renee was sitting down the chairs and we could see her and she looked really flushed? Was there any consideration to asking her not to go out and make that lift? Because that really was one of the bravest moments of the competition so far, wasn't it?
Yeah, it certainly runs through your mind. I had a very experienced coach working directly with Renee, Richie Patterson, 4-time Commonwealth Games athlete, Commonwealth Games champion in 2014, 3-time Olympian, who showed tremendous leadership in the situation actually to just, again, first and foremost, calm Renee down. It actually really worked in the favour that the athlete I was looking after was also going out on a similar number. So we were able to work together to buy Renee quite a bit of time, which was enough time in hindsight now to get her back in the moment, and meant that she went out and she got her 81. And I've just seen her actually in the break, and she's looking well and pretty chipper this morning. So
I did just see her in the gymnasium before. She looked terrific, but she was very, very emotional, wasn't she, after making that lift successfully when she came back?
Yeah, I think in the heat of the moment, it just sort of all overwhelmed her. I've actually spoken to a few people today who felt that emotion with her. You know, that's why we're involved in sport. It's what it does. It takes you through those highs and lows without really any major consequences at the end of it.
Yeah, well, I was talking to Richard Mason, who's the emceeing here today and has done a bit of commentary with this, and he actually said to me, I had to pause for a moment because I had a bit of a tear in my eye. And poor Richard, we put him through it again because we had one of the young Japanese lifters up this morning who actually, she walked after 2 misses, she walked up onto the platform just in tears.
Yeah, I was announcing that session and got caught up with it as well. I actually made an announcement to the crowd to really, get in behind her, and
yeah,
it was really pleasing to see her nail her third lift.
And that was a really, really brave lift, wasn't it, when considering where she came from with that?
Yeah, certainly. Considering her emotional state when she walked on the platform. So at the other end of the spectrum, we've got young Rue here, who's gone 2 out of 2 and is looking very in control.
Well, I'm sure I'm going to put a jinx on it now, but we haven't had a miss yet. So the women have been very, very solid through the early part of this competition.
There you go, mate.
I've done it. I feel like I should go out and apologise to her. I've just put the moz on her there, haven't I?
Oh, we see it all around the world, don't you? You see in rugby when goal kickers are lining up, and there really is, I don't believe, sort of any influence, but people get caught up in it. You see, unfortunately, it just banged her hips a little bit and therefore swung over the back.
So talking about the situation with Renee and what she went through, and even the young Japanese girl this morning, sort of scars does something like what Renee went through leave on a lifter, or is it kind of things that they have to experience once in order to really mature as a lifter?
We'll just see.
We'll get back to that after this. So Alex from Romania, her first attempt in the snatch, 89 kilograms.
You did put the mockers on.
I've ruined things now, haven't I?
But look, no, I'm a big believer. It doesn't matter what level of sport you're playing, there needs to be a fun component of it. Now, that looks different to each individual. I think of our former All Black captain, Richie McCaw, who, fun looked quite different to him to what maybe it does to an under-15 rugby player. But you need to find a sense of joy in what you're doing. And that example yesterday, to frame it up in a positive, she came back, she showed tremendous character to get that lift. I'll just pause why. Nauru takes this.
Got Niru from France, 89 kilos. This is her second lift in the snatch. She looks strong for those first two lifts, doesn't she?
She's back on track. She didn't worry about what you were talking about.
No, I know.
So the main thing is that absolutely, you know, you reflect on it, the positive experience of managing to come back out and execute that 81 that she did is the lasting impression, and that she can go back to training enthused for what's still to come this year. And for her, we've got the Pacific Games next month in Samoa, which is a massive event for this region. It's a multi-sport event. All 27 Pacific countries are involved.
Got Alex now from Romania, back for her second attempt at the 89 kilos. So we might see on the replay here just where Alexei is going wrong.
Yeah, we'll see here. Again, the bar's just, she's not finishing the pull. Bar staying out in front. She knows it. So her challenge now is to not get too emotional, to be able to calm herself back down, and to be able to make the correction. It's the real neat part of this sport. That yes, you've got to be strong, you've got to be dynamic, but you've got to have tremendous.
I think we might see her move up and buy a bit more time just to get her head right there.
Yeah, she has. She's putting up that kilo.
So with Gurayev from Turkmenistan, 90 kilos. Are you a cheek slapper as a coach?
No. Maybe the odd back, but not the cheeks.
It seems to be fairly prominent in the world of weightlifting, doesn't it?
Again, quite cultural.
Yeah. No, I'm sure it is. So Gurayev from Turkmenistan, her first lift in the snatch, women's 64 Group A, 90 kilos on the bar. So the 19-year-old from Turkmenistan on the board. She'll be pleased with that.
Yeah, it's another, just to go back to that quickly, it's another neat thing, you know, very rarely do you get to mix and mingle with people from Turkmenistan, from the Ukraine, from these parts of the world that, you know, generally, you know, I was in Uzbekistan last year, and when you go there you realise that, you know, again, they're lovely people. Weightlifting's a fantastic vehicle to bring people together and learn new things. So yeah, it's quite cultural. You know, I think back to, you know, you go back 20, 30 years in the world of rugby, and you know, that's how like the French team would get themselves up in the changing rooms and that sort of thing. So, but sports psychology's moved on a little bit, certainly in our part of the world, and you know, we talk a lot about doing the work prior, so that you're not trying to get too emotionally too high or too low when you're in the midst of competition.
Yeah, I mean, it's inevitable that, especially at this level with the juniors, even though some of those lifters have been lifting since they're 13 and 14, they're still very young, aren't they, in maturity terms?
Yeah, absolutely, and we overlook that quite often because they're 18, 19 and they're putting very big weights over their head. We tend to see them as adults as opposed as you say, some are still adolescents. Well,
Alexei here is going to be trying to put 90 kilos over her head, which is 50% again of her body weight. So significant numbers here. It's her third and final attempt. No. It's pretty frustrated. Well, she tried to buy a bit of time there with by going up to the 90 kgs, and see,
Yeah, challenge as well. You know, if you're throwing them over the back, which normally suggests more of a technical problem, then the extra kilo, maybe not such an issue. She missed all 3 snatches in front, which suggests she wasn't finishing a pull. I mean, it didn't look heavy, but psychologically, you're missing them in front, that extra kilo, and it hasn't worked out for them, unfortunately.
So, in completely the opposite direction, Alexei has failed to register in the snatch, but she still has the clean and jerk. And Euro from France, she's 2 from 2 at 85 and 89, 91 on the bar here. This is her 3rd and final lift in the snatch. No lift there. So she'll finish with 89 kilos, I should say.
Yeah, that right side was a little bit low through all 3 lifts, and then on this one, it was the one that gave up. Just see here, she just lost it on that right side. Wasn't able to really snap out the catch.
So clearly balance is a massive part of this sport. It must be hard when you get an athlete that's one side dominant to try and correct that.
Yeah, well, have our first look at Levent here.
Got Levent from Turkey, 92 kilograms. Big jump there, customary of the European athletes.
Yeah, it was a strong lift. Yeah, so working on the principle that, you train people that do weightlifting as opposed you train or coach weightlifters. Everyone's got their own idiosyncrasies, and there's the art and the science of coaching, and very much part of the art is working well. What can I let go? What do I have to work on? Is that little imbalance potentially going to lead to an injury, or is it just a quirk of the particular athlete? These are the sorts of things you have to work on. I think Dejomas here is the younger sister of Nacy Dejomas, who was 3-time junior world champion in the 75 kilo class. So if she's anything like her sister, she'll have some good pedigree.
Well, she's got pretty good pedigree without her sister. Got a long history of competition right back to 2015. She's only 18 years old, so it's been going since she was 14 years old. 93 kilos on the bar, Dejomas.
Well, that was impressive.
Yeah, so she's another athlete that looks like she's dropped back in the weights a bit, although looks like the old categories, if this is anything to go by, where she competed in the 71 kilo class as a 64 kilo athlete, probably wasn't working in her favour. So this might actually help her, those new categories. Another one of those athletes to benefit from them.
Yeah, even though she was in the 71s, as you say, she was only weighing 64.2. She's been up as heavy as 68 kilos, but has obviously decided that this is her preferred weight.
Yep, she's weighing in at 63.45, and here we have Polina Gurieva from Turkmenistan, 93 kilos on the bar for her second attempt. So she's 2 from 2. Successful lift at 90 kilos and another one at 93.
We're a little bit like last night. I think we've got 3 athletes here battling for 2 medals, given that the Chinese girl is going to come out when they've all finished.
Yeah, it would certainly look like she's not going to appear on stage. Got 3 athletes completed. So as we predicted, that there's that bottom group of 3, and there's a next group of 4, and then the Chinese athlete if we're going by the entry scores here. So DeJomo's, but she won't take that 94, having just completed 93.
No. Say 96, 95, 96, she'll take.
Looks like we'll have the Turk out next, Levant.
Yes.
Turkey next.
There we go.
We'll start with Turkey
90, 96,
and the second attempt in the snatch of Nurain Levant.
So it's good preparation there from the Turkish coaches. They read that one well. Levant was well prepared. We've seen a couple of athletes have to rush out, haven't we?
It's a smaller session here, but easier to get the timings right.
So Levant successful in a second lift at 95.
Yeah, I think Levant and DeJomo's are going to battle it out for the silver medal.
Gurieva's at a limit here, 95.
I think so, yeah. She's had to, I mean, 93 was better than 90, but she's been walking forward to stabilise her snatches, I think.
So Levant's looked pretty good there. That trademark sort of European, Eastern European smack of the feet on the platform.
Even this is a bit of a funny call, 96 really. But
that's way beyond anything, and in fact she equalled her performance at the Asian Championships with that lift of 93. So they're pushing her out into what appears to be slightly unknown territory.
Well, in that case, a personal best, like we've talked about, quality experiences count in the long run as well. So we'll see.
Not to be, well, she's equal to competition best from the Asian Championships earlier in the year, so she's not going backwards.
No, which is, certainly at this age you want to be showing a steady progression.
So the real question here is what DeJomo's and Levant do. DeJomo's will come out and attempt 96 kilos. This would actually put her into first place if she's successful. Keeping in mind that the Chinese athlete, Liao Jufang, just like last night, she has not touched the bar.
Yeah, again, another very strong lift from DeJomo's there.
So what can she do here, DeJomo's, to put a bit of pressure on Liao? Just hope that she doesn't start well?
Yeah, I mean, again, you're in that awful, you're hoping. Based on what she's done so far, I think she'll just try and secure the medal. I think if Levant is successful with 97, I think we'll see DeJomo's come out and take 98. And then let the Chinese play in their own playground.
Yeah. So Levant, Turkey, 97 kilos, his third and final attempt in the snatch. 2 successful lifts at 92 and 95. Yeah, not that time. So she's still looks okay for a bronze in the snatch at this stage. We are, of course, assuming that Liao, when she deigns to enter the competition.
Well, she's guaranteed, isn't she, a bronze?
Yeah.
China, next.
So we see the Chinese lifter making her first appearance.
So, which suggests the Zomas might be going up to 100.
Yeah.
Oh, and China's pulled it down.
Yeah, so they're just
covering.
Yeah, do what she needs.
Yep, Zoma's gone to 100.
It'll be interesting to see whether she has a crack at the world record here, Liao. Don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but it's only 7 kilos above where she's at, so if she starts strongly here, we might see an attempt.
Yeah, well, let's have a look at this opener. We've had nothing from out the back, so this will give us a good indication of where this sits.
Very businesslike.
Very businesslike.
It was scary in its efficiency. That the feet didn't move.
No, so that's the other end. The Chinese don't. They sort of slide their feet, if indeed they move them at all. You'll see here if you watch her feet. She'll go up on her toes a wee bit and just slide them. It's very much a different technique. They still catch the bar exceedingly hard, but without the big stomp.
So she's catapulted herself into first place. That puts Dejomez into second, and as we said, Levant, who's finished on 95, she's guaranteed the bronze. So we've got a little mini battle going on here between Dejomez and Liao.
100 kilos, third attempt to the snatch. Liao, China, next.
So Dejomez has got the lift, I think, here. Liao's moved up to 101, so this
She's gone on.
yeah, okay. She's really throwing the gauntlet down here. She has lifted 100 kilos in the snatch 3 times previously at world level in the 2018 IWF World Championships last year. That was also in the 64 kilo class, and in the International Junior CSLP Cup and the International Senior CSLP Cup. She was lifting in the 71 kilos class then. She got 100 in the snatch, so so she's forced Liao out there.
This will be a very good lift. But based on what we've seen so far, very, very likely that she could execute. Excellent.
Yeah, she's going to be pumped with that. That's a competition PB for her there, for Dejomez.
Yeah, that's a very impressive lift. You know, 64 kilos, body weight, putting 101 over your head like that.
Yeah, she's 2/3 again of her body weight over her head, so.
Especially when she hasn't turned 19 yet. Complete contrast in how Liao goes about her work.
Yeah, there's almost no change of expression on her face at all, is there? She just saunters up, doesn't even go around to the back of the platform and approach at the right angles like many of the athletes do. Okay, so we could be in for a bit of a surprise here.
Well, again,
it's got one more lift.
Yeah, the benefit of scoreboard pressure. You know, Dejamas has done the lift. She's forced the Chinese girl to have to win the snatch. She hasn't given it to her.
Conclusion to this last lift of the snatch. We'll take a 10-minute break before we start with the clip intervention.
Throws back a long way, and the bar just doesn't come with her, and it stays out in front. So again, I'm not sure that the weight is necessarily the issue. But she's going to have to really show some energy and some determination to fix this. We are admittedly only 3 kilos off the junior world record.
Yeah, she's very, very close to it. So, in fact, I thought if she was successful on that lift, she might have actually had a bit of a crack at it. But always hard to read some athlete's expression, isn't it, when you're seeing them up close like that?
Only young as well, you know, 17 years of age, doesn't turn 18 until October. In fact, the youngest competitor in the class. So, you know, she's probably facing some pressure that she hasn't had before.
Well, they've responded well so far, most of the Chinese athletes, to the pressure, haven't they?
Yeah, well, I mean, they go home and they're one of a number in their weight class all around these sorts of weights. So, you know, they're certainly used to fighting for dominance. Oh,
that's a gutsy lift.
It is. It is. She showed tremendous patience.
So that's a gold medal lift there.
Yeah, that's what you want to see as a coach. A young 17-year-old not being phased, focusing on what she needs to do. And we'll see here. Oh, it rocked her. It rocked her.
She's up on her toes a bit, and then she gets back on the heels, doesn't she?
She showed tremendous amounts of patience and strength. So good on her. Again, won the medal, which is the neat thing about it.
So divided as they did in the snatch into 2 categories. This bottom 4 lifters, and then there's a fair bit of daylight to the top 4. But first up is Alexei from Romania. 105 kilos on the bar, women's clean and jerk, 64 kilograms, her first attempt. Joining me in the commentary here is Simon Kent. Things are not improving for Alexei, are they?
No, I was watching that clean thinking that, okay, she's got herself back together, but then the jerk's gone awry, and I think she clearly wears her emotions on her sleeve a little bit here, and you can see through her expression she's just not happy. She's not having a good time. Yeah. No. She locked it out, but it just, her left elbow came undone. And
so our next lifter is Gréraud from France. And she will begin also at 105 kilograms. She was impressive in the snatch, went clean right through that with lifts of 79, 82 and 84. This is her first lift in the clean and jerk, 105 kilos. See what the judges say. Any concern with that little wobble there? One of them doesn't like it.
Yeah, that right shoulder that's heavily strapped.
105 kilos once again. This time, Magali Rue, Canada, first attempt.
Looked like it was just wobbling a bit, and the whatever reason the referees obviously didn't quite press their buttons together because it took forever for the down signal to come along.
It's hard to tell from this angle.
Pretty solid.
Yeah, hard to tell what they saw from this angle, and we're a little further away. So we're back with Rue, Canada, her first lift. Women's 64 kilogram Group A, 105 kilos on the bar. Good solid lift, waves to the crowd, strides off. Very purposeful there.
Yeah, she's back into her work. The Canadians over the last few years have produced many good, not just juniors, but senior women. I know when we compete as a Commonwealth, whether it be the Commonwealth Championships or the Commonwealth Games, the Canadian women always feature strongly.
Well, she's made a good start in clean and jerk. And next up is Euro. After a best lift of 89 kilos. So if she lifts well here after a 5th place in the snatch, she may just sneak herself into a totals medal. Well, she's on the board, which is the best place to be.
It was very strong. Clean was a little bit tougher. Once she got her up there, she was very strong overhead. She's a powerfully built young woman, and she showed that with her overhead work.
She's also another one of these athletes who's getting right up towards her competition bests. 84 kilos, 105 in the clean and jerk, and a total of 189 at the European Junior Championships last year. So she's already bested that. That was in the 63 kilo class, so she's about the same weight. She's put on a kilo since then. We're with Alexei now. Let's see if she can get on the board.
I think that left elbow. I'll be surprised if she gets this.
She doesn't look happy with it.
No win, Alexei, 105 kilos. Voters, one more time, 105 kilos for Alexander Alexei, Romania.
Well, she's having a day she won't want to dwell on too much.
No, she looked very efficient through the clean there, didn't she?
Yeah, she did in her first one, but again, like the first one, her left side let her down.
Yeah, we just see the elbow there.
Yeah. Although one of the referees didn't.
Yeah, well, interestingly, it was the 2 referees on the outside that both pinged her for that. So maybe in that slightly better angle, the central referee may not have picked it up. We didn't notice it so much from the, well, you did, but you've got years of experience compared to me. I didn't notice it so much from here, but it looked much more obvious from that angle.
The officials have been doing long days as well, and that's the, again, it's a very subjective, even though the criteria is clear, it's still a split-second subjective. It's comparing it to another sport. It's an LBW decision, you know. You've got to compute a lot of information very quickly.
Yeah, now this would be a really big lift for her if she could make this. She's had a really a horror competition here. And again, she's nicely through that.
Well, yeah, I think she's good.
Just wait on the judges. Yeah, 3 white lights. So that's a good finish for her, really. That was probably important in terms of her going forward, wasn't it, to actually make a lift here.
I think so. I mean, it'll look, regardless, it'll be a competition she wants to forget, but at least she goes away getting one.
Yeah, you know, horrible to come all this way from Romania, and she wandered about, didn't she?
I mean, she's got another year as a junior though, so
yeah,
you know, travelling as far as she has, I'm sure it probably involved a minimum of 3 plane rides. Will stand her in good stead moving forward.
Look, you know, she's well capable of that lift too. She lifted 111 kilos at last year's junior championships in Europe, and 110 at the junior world championships last year as well in the 69 kilo class. So she has actually come down a bit. I'm wondering that might have affected her. She lifted in the 69 kilo class last year, and also at the Qatar Cup in the 76 kilo class. Well, here she's dropped down to 63.6, so she's dropped 8 kilos from the competition last year.
Yeah, so that could certainly have an effect. I think in particular for here, it's just like we've seen with a few athletes that have come from Europe. You know, Fiji is a long way away, and very different climate, very different environment, which is the nuances of international sport. You know, it's not the comforts of your own gym and in your own country.
Well, yeah, and it's that time travel, isn't it? When you're travelling sort of west-east, I mean, you'd be very familiar with most people who live in Australia or New Zealand or Pacific. They're used to the distances to travel, but for some of the European athletes, they would rarely make a journey of this distance, would they? No,
absolutely. You know, the majority of our big competitions tend to be held, you know, Central Asia, Europe, North America. So it is a rarity. In fact, well, as we've said, I mean, this is the first ever junior championships, world or senior, in the to be held in the Oceania region.
Yeah, which is a great thing for Fiji, and they've done a magnificent job hosting it here. We're coming towards the end of day 4. A lot of action left to go. Rue, Canada, 108 on the bar. Yeah, nice smile, nod of the head. She's been solid.
Yeah, she has, apart from that one snatch miss, which you talked her out of.
Yeah, I didn't I? I really put the moz on her for that.
She's been excellent. So, you know, she can secure this last clean and jerk. She'll finish with a really nice competition.
Yeah, now I'm going to hold that one against you, though, if she secures the last clean and jerk, because I've already jinxed her with the snatch. All I'm going to say is, at the moment, she's 4 from 5 lifts, and that's impressive. Okay. So Grayo, who's also been pretty consistent.
Well, she hasn't missed, has she, Grayo?
You said that, not me.
Yep. She's come 4 from 4.
Yeah, she's 4 from 4.
She was the only girl to do that. Oh no, we had Dejomas went 3 from 3.
Yeah.
It's how this right shoulder holds up in this jerk.
Yeah, well, she's worked hard through there.
No. Oh.
Yeah, she looked a fraction dizzy there towards the end, didn't she?
Yeah, I think having to... She might... Oh, she's having a discussion, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure if she was pointing to her knee or something then. She seemed to lift her right leg to her coach.
Well, we know the French do like to wear their emotions on their sleeve, so...
Yeah, it looked like when she pulled away from the bar, she went to her knees. She was a bit dizzy. So let's see how her teammate can go. Euro. Got 109 kilos on the bar here. So she struggled with that. It's way out beyond the 105 she lifted at the European Junior Championships last year. That was in the 63 kilo class. So she's another one of those athletes that this change in weights has probably helped a little bit. She's weighing in at 63.65 now.
Bruce moved up to 110 kilos. 109 kilos. Representing France. Third attempt, Vicky Gagnon. Next.
She's going back out.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, she didn't look. She didn't look real happy about it, though, does she?
I think she's fighting back the tears.
Yeah, definitely.
So she needs to lock in on this.
Yeah, now I don't know whether she actually hurt herself in that last lift, or maybe we've been speculating whether it's the shoulder, but she's got 109 here. Yep, she's worked her way through that.
Well, that was a gutsy effort.
Just keeping herself together there. She looked like we were going to see a few tears. Not exactly rushing to support her there, the coaching staff, are they? But they've got another athlete to worry about.
Yeah, he just let her go. They're obviously having a slight disagreement at the moment.
Yeah, I'm not sure she was convinced about doing it again, were you?
No, but then having said that, she got out there and gave it a real good crack. So she showed some courage there.
Yeah, there's a bit of a discussion going on there. So Euro, her final attempt in clean and jerk. Oh, no. Yeah, that was just not good. Not good off the mat there.
So they both finished with 105.
110 kilos now. Three athletes calling for this weight. Up first will be Paulina Gurjeva, Turkmenistan. To be followed by
Nairi finishes 5 kilos over her teammate.
Gurjeva's gone up. Still 110 kilos. Representing Turkey, Güney Levant.
So
110 kilos. Rue Canada next.
we've got Levant.
I think she's going up because Canada's coming out here, I think.
Yeah, she'll move up from that weight, you'd think. She's kind of in that top four that we identified, and already the bronze medalist in the snatch.
She's moved up. 110 kilos stays in the bar. Third and final attempt. Representing Canada, Magali Rue. Gurjeva, Turkmenistan took below.
So see Levant there, she's jumped up to 113 kilos. So
yeah, so they'll be playing around for the medals, you would have thought.
yeah, so that'll end up being a battle between those three. Levant, Jomez and Gurjeva. But we are with Rue, Magali Rue from Canada. Approaches the bar, 110 kilos. This is her final lift in the competition. Currently in second place.
No. Good effort. I think drop it.
No. Yeah, she had a couple of tries, didn't she?
Yeah, once you can maybe go back down once, but when you lose the momentum, you're just trying to dead squat it. 110 might as well feel like 130.
Athletes remaining in this section. 113 kilos, first attempt.
It doesn't get the initial bounce,
Turkmenistan.
and then the
To be
second
followed
time,
by
yeah,
Levant.
runs out of steam.
So what's going on in the muscles of the legs there? It must just be massive kind of lactic acid build-up. Just
Well, not
won't
quite
function.
like that, but just, you
Alright.
know, it's such a, it's testing my physiology here. Krebs cycle. You're just running out of that initial explosion.
So we've got Guriev from Turkmenistan, her first attempt in the clean and jerk at 113 kilos. Taking plenty of time. Judges are happy.
Yeah, she's just chipped away. Gurieva, she's and she keeps herself in the hunt.
I'll have to save that question for Dr. Rob Mitchell if he gets back behind the microphone at any point.
Yeah. Although he is a maxillofacial surgeon, so I'm not sure quite where to go, but yes.
I'm sure he'd throw a couple of darts at that question though. 113 kilos. Levant from Turkey, her first lift. Well, she's on the board and well in the mix now. Bronze medalist with a lift of 95 in the snatch. She's in first position here in the overall.
113, now 114. Second attempt. Levant next. Gurieva's moved out. 114 kilo stays. Levant. Second attempt in the clean and jerk.
So Levant's going to take an increase here, which might bring Jomes onto the platform, unless she too takes an increase.
Yeah, I think we'll see Jomes, but here we go. Although,
115 kilos.
can we see the Ecuadorians? Yeah, she's strapping her knees in the background. Now maybe she's gone up because the Turkmenistan lifter is. No.
Angie Palacios, Ecuador. 116 kilos. We've got more changes here. 116 kilos.
Well, we've still got it listed as 100. Oh, it's gone up to 116 now. So that would mean that.
But it's still her though. But
still her.
It's managed to buy her a bit more time.
I can't begin to imagine what he's got in his hands there.
Well, I saw him taking it. It looked like just a muscle rub, actually.
Okay, so Jomes coming out. She hasn't left herself a bucket load of time. She's taking plenty of it too.
Very strong.
Well, she didn't need much.
No, I think she could conceivably do what she did to Liao in the snatches. She might just creep up, or more than creep up actually. Now she'll throw to at least 120, probably 121, and we'll see if Liao comes out.
Well, she's got a competition best at the World Championships last year of 122 in the clean and jerk, so she's capable of more. She's done 120 a couple of times in competition, admittedly as a 69 kilo athlete. She has dropped a fair bit of weight here for the 64 kilos. Garay of 116 kilos. Going to second place. The clean and jerk if she gets this.
I don't think so.
So the judges say with that, well, give it a good lift.
Yeah.
I mean, the jury's having a look at that.
They're going to overturn that. The side one might be good because she rotates towards us here. So works hard in the clean, but it just pushes us a little bit forward. There, and then goes for a walk. And I just don't think that right arm was ever fully locked out.
She didn't look wrapped with it as she walked off, didn't she?
Yeah, some lifters though, Tim, are not very good poker players. So we'll see. You see, I think it bent. Yeah, look, it's all over the place on that right side.
Yeah, there's a couple of movements there, isn't there? So you're looking hopefully at the judge. The referee up front, she's just pleading with her eyes there, isn't it? Let me put this down.
Well, that's the thing, that quite often they're very quick. As soon as they think the lifter's got control, they'll put they'll press their buttons. And when you get to a situation like that where you're holding it up there for seems like very good.
They've given that good.
There you go.
There you go.
Well, happy to be wrong.
Well, maybe they just felt that part of that rotation of the body was what was causing the movement there.
Maybe.
You know. Oh, well, she'll be thrilled with that.
She will be, and it's put her in silver medal position at this stage.
Yeah, because honestly, she looked miserable coming off the platform. I thought she was going straight in the river after that one. So with Levant, 116. It's her second lift.
That's a good lift. That's a much better lockout.
Yeah, she's pretty happy with that. She's lifted pretty well today, apart from that one blemish at 97 k's in the snatch. So she's put herself in the mix there.
Yeah, I think Levant and Gurieva are playing their own little game. I think they've probably both realised that De Jomez is off chasing Liao, and these two will try and edge ahead of one another. And having, based on the last two lifts, well, that was, front foot was a bit short, but Levant might just edge it over Gurieva, I think.
Well, they've gone identical, haven't they, so far? 113, 116, so.
I think they have to play their card, the Turkmenistan coaches. Give her 118.
Yeah.
Oh, she's gone to 19. So now does the Turkish girl match it? I think she does. I'd be more confident. If I was a Turkish coach, I'd be happily matching that and saying, go on, go out and get it. Having said that, Gurieva's done it first. So Levant does need to make the lift.
And Levant's only got a competition best from the European Championships the year of 117, whereas Gurieva
so I think this is
from
the
the
right
Asian
call.
Championships has got 118. So
I think this is the right call. Take this and let Gurrieva go out and win it.
So Nuro Levant from Turkey. Third attempt, 118 kilos. This is personal best in competition.
She needs to really drive this straight. Which she has.
Yeah, she's done well there. That's a really, really brave lift in the circumstances, isn't it?
Yeah. And now it goes, I don't think we'll see Pajamas. I think it'll be Gurrieva.
119 now for Angie Palacios. 119 kilos on the bar, Angie Palacios, Ecuador.
Well, we assumed that Jomez would move up to 120 here, and she'd put that back to Gurrieva, and they can sort the bronze medal out first.
Yeah, I still think that'll be the case.
Levant's got herself up into second position, though.
Here she comes.
Oh, she's too, yeah. There we go.
Okay.
Well, she's not leaving herself much room for error then if Liao comes out strongly, is she? She hasn't got much opportunity to hit back at her if she takes this lift.
Oh, and after her very powerful opener. This will put her back in the gold medal position for the time being. Well, based on Gurrieva, they got to give this. Oh.
No lift. Palacios, 119 kilos. No lift. Voters, please. 119 kilos once again.
Bit stiff, you think?
Well, no. I think. Whereas I thought the other one was a no lift as well. I do think that was a no lift, but anyway, they're making the calls, not I, which is a good thing. So all of a sudden, this puts her in a gold medal position if she could finish strongly. She started thinking that approach was quite different to every other lift.
Yeah, and that makes Levant's decision look just that much smarter, doesn't it? Really.
Well, yeah, no, that, as we said at the time, was the right call.
This is the final attempt of Angie Palacios, Ecuador, 119 kilos.
Yeah, you'd assume that Tajomas would go up here.
No, I don't think so. I think she
No.
comes out and she takes this and secures a silver medal. Yeah, looks what she's going to do. Right? At the end of the day,
Well, she's already got the silver medal.
no, Levant.
Oh, Levant, sorry, yeah, Levant's in front, yeah.
Yeah.
No, she's got to get that. Yeah, well, she's well capable of getting this on the strength of that last lift, isn't she?
Absolutely. Yeah. Another powerful clean and just a little bit more intent with the jerk. Yeah. Big drive. There we go.
Yep. Well, that gives us silver. And it keeps her in first spot in the total. So looks like Gurrieva's going to be the unlucky one. Finished fourth in the snatch, fourth in the clean and jerk, most probably, and fourth in the total.
Yeah.
120 kilos,
Well, yeah, I mean, Dejome is 7 kilos ahead of Levant.
Yeah, now just a really a question of what happens here. Liao was a kilo up. And this lift would put her into first place in the clean and jerk and the total. 120 kilos on the bar.
Another Chinese gold medal.
Yeah, they've been unassailable in this junior division.
Yeah. I mean, that's 3 out of 4.
Well, 3 out of 3 that they've actually had competitors in, yeah.
I mean, it's pretty routine, really.
Lowers another kilo, please. 122 kilos now.
So it's academic now. It's just a question of the final total that Leon can post. She's won gold in the snatch, the clean and jerk, and the total. Dejomes will walk away a triple silver medalist at the Junior World Championships, and Yure Levant from Turkey will have 3 bronze medals. They could do them all at once in the presentation.
Yeah, we saw in the last session only 3 athletes contesting all the medals, and yeah, as you say, we're going to say exactly the same here, aren't we?
Well, the only difference in the last session is that there was the Colombian and the Latvian swapped between the clean and jerk, didn't they?
Yes, that's right. But yeah, you're right here. They replicate across all 3 medals.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
First time we've seen that.
Yeah, it is the first time we've seen it. In fact, the men's 81 was the first time I think we've only seen, apart from the event where there was only 3 competitors, where we've only seen 3 medalists. There's usually been at least 4, so someone's kind of snuck in either the snatch or the clean and jerk, or in one case I think we had Medvedov who finished 6th and 4th.
Yeah, well, didn't we have as many as 6 athletes come up for the medal presentation, I think, in one of the sessions?
We did, yeah.
So this will be now about personal bests.
Yeah, so yesterday we had Maksad Beredov from Turkmenistan, who finished 6th in the snatch, 4th in the clean and jerk, but he managed to sneak through for a bronze medal in the total. So you get some unusual results, but we're with Liao now, 125 kilos.
Very solid.
Liao Guifeng, 125 kilos. Lowers another kilo, please. 126.
Well, based on that, maybe 130 for a final attempt, which again will be not too far shy of a junior world record attempt.
No, she's not far off a junior world record. In fact, you know, I know it's another 10 kilos at the end of the competition, but she's looks pretty comfortable with both those 2 lifts.
I think they say the thing to bear in mind is she's 17 years of age.
Yeah. You would almost be surprised looking at her lift now if she doesn't break that record at some point.
Well, and she's got 2 years to do it.
Yeah, that's right.
Having said that, it's never, very rarely is it as linear as that. I mean, we've seen a couple of athletes in CJ Cummings. He's gone back to back. Bergazov, I think, as well, from Uzbekistan's gone back to back. Last year's Junior Worlds and this year's Junior Worlds. But on the flip side, someone like Harrison Morris, who won medals in the clean and jerk and maybe even the total last year, who's unfortunately had a little bit of injury, so he's dropped down a little bit. So Yeah, the progress is not always as linear as you'd hope.
No, and I mean there's other factors in terms of the kids at this age, isn't there, in terms of their growth and even things like schooling and stuff that can get in the way of their progress. But Liao certainly as a 17-year-old, and you know she's only 17 and a half really, she won't be 18 until October.
Well, she's going to finish with 128.
That'll be a pretty dominant performance from her. 10-kilo margin in the total.
Well, to put it into context, our best senior 64-kilo lifter back in New Zealand has got a best of 113. She's smoked that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, she's a very worthy and a very dominant winner. So that brings to end the women's 64-kilo Group A. Can tell you that the medalists in the snatch were Liao, lift of 102, Tajomas, lift of 101, and Levant, Turkey, with a lift of 95. Same order in the clean and jerk, Liao, Tajomas, Levant, and the same order for the total too, with Liao, Tajomas, Levant. So a couple little battles within the battles there, especially for that bronze medal towards the end, but in the end a pretty convincing win by the Chinese girl.
Relative of some description, Naso Tajomas, 3-time junior world champion, out of the same program, so they've got some pedigree in that program in Ecuador.
You see the officials and the athletes milling around there as we wait for the athletes. Our gold medalists there. Men's categories, we've got the men's 89-kilogram division coming up, so there's still plenty of action here from the gymnasium. And just 3 medalists, and they will remain behind each of those podiums.
Nitesh Chandra, General Manager, Oceanic Communication, Platinum Partner for the Junior World Championships. And Luis Zambrano, Ecuador, IWF Executive Board Member.
Luis Zambrano from Ecuador.
The bronze medalist for the snatch of 95 kilos, representing Turkey, Nurey Levant.
So Levant from Turkey, some reasonably successful lifters. This competition.
Yeah, we saw a youth world record from one of their smaller men earlier.
We did in the men, yeah. In fact, we saw he broke 3 youth world records, didn't he?
Right,
Because Indonesian broke the clean and jerk record a minute after him.
Yeah, that was a great contest.
That was Donan from
Donan, yes.
Turkey. So these medals in the snatch being presented by the Honourable Alapate Nagata, the Assistant Minister of Youth and Sports.
With a 102-kilo snatch, representing People's Republic of China, Liao Guifeng.
Nitesh Chandra presenting the medals in the snatch as he presents the gold medal to Liao Zhongfeng. He's the General Manager of Oceanic Communication and a platinum partner for the Junior World Cup.
Thank you. Now, the medalist in the clean and jerk with a 118-kilo lift. Bronze medalist representing Turkey, Nurey Levant.
Alapate Nagata, the Assistant Minister of Youth and Sports in Fiji. apologies for the confusion there.
Silver medalist with 119 kilo lift.
Representing Ecuador, Angie Palacios.
Angie Palacios de Jomes from Ecuador picks up her second silver medal.
Gold medalist with a result of 128 kilos from People's Republic of China, Liao Guifeng.
Liao Guifeng, People's Republic of China, proudly displaying her national flag there as she receives her second gold medal. She's the second of the Chinese women to sweep the category.
Thank you.
Now, the medalists for the total. With a total of 213 kilos, bronze medalist representing Turkey, Nuray Levant.
And Levant again steps up to receive her third bronze medal. And she'll receive this from Luis Zambran from Ecuador. He is an IWF executive board member from Ecuador. He'll very proudly present the next medal.
Silver medalist with a
20 kilo total representing Ecuador, Angie Palacios.
So Palacios de Jomes.
Gold medalist and world champion with a total of 230 kilos representing People's Republic of China, Liao Guifeng.
Liao Guifeng, triple gold medalist here at the Junior World Championships.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise to one of the first flags and the national anthem of the People's Republic of China.
As we pause for the national anthem of the People's Republic of China.
Congratulations to the medalists.
So that concludes the medal presentation ceremony here for the women's 64 kilogram class, and once again China showing their absolute dominance in the women's categories. We'll take a short break and we'll be back here in just a few minutes for the last event on the program for the evening. That's the men's 89